What is up, everyone? What is up? It is Monday. We don't say happy Monday, because Mondays are never happy. What's everyone up to? I keep bumping into the camera, it feels like. Like, every time I notice, it's like just a little bit off frame where I normally have it. It is what it is. But anyway, what's everyone up to? I've been slowly cleaning up the house. I ran into a piece of hardware I completely forgot I even had and completely even existed. It's from Microsoft. Technically Avnet. It's an Azure Sphere. So, I'm gonna have to dig into this guy, because I literally found that like about an hour ago when I was cleaning up. Looks like an interesting little board here. There's a little bit of I/O, so I'm gonna have to do some looking into this. Looks like there's, I want to say like micro USB. I'm gonna have to figure out how to connect into this. There might be a UART or something connection there. That'll be another back burner project for me to tinker with. So, yeah. Just one more fun little project for me to go and tinker with. I found it behind a box. Literally was just pulling out books and cleaning out and dusting things, and this was apparently something that had fallen behind, so I must have put it on top with the expectation of, you know, hey, I'm gonna come back and see that, and then obviously didn't, and it had been dusty. It'd been there for a while. So let's look this up, actually, what this little guy is. So this is the Azure Sphere Mike Tango 3620. Okay. The Azure Sphere MT 3620 development kit. No, this is not quite it. This is looking similar, though. This is something, it looks like Seed Studio had a similar kind of thing. It's a different layout, but I mean, pinout and such wise, it's the same, just physically a different layout. Huh. Let me see. This is, let me see. An Azure Sphere Development Kit. Okay, so this was the Avnet one, obviously. Okay, so it looks like there are two. There was the Avnet one and the Seed Studio one. And I've got the Avnet one. And this kit is no longer available. So I have a piece of hardware that you no longer can pick up. Now, apparently, there are little headers for this guy. That explains so much. Okay. I was like, this looks like it has networking, but why don't I have networking? Yeah, this looks like it's missing some header over here that's supposed to be soldered on. So, if I recall correctly, this was to be kind of an extension of their Azure development, you know, environment and all that. Like, as in, like, you know, the competitor to AWS and everything there. So, I originally bought this as an idea to play with Azure services, but never really picked up on that. So yeah, I need to pick up an Ethernet port. Yeah, because this guy is like really bare bones, I'm noticing, compared to that guy. Because this one's missing pieces that are soldered on. Yeah, like, look at this. So yeah, this is completely bare bones like they have it here. So I would have to solder on some additional connectors. But I'm curious. So the AVNet one is no longer in existence anymore. Is the Seed Studio one still around? I hate their website. Okay, so they do have a module. Out of stock, so that's not looking good. 404ing, so yeah, I'm feeling like this is maybe a mothballed platform. That's the problem with quite a few of the Microsoft stuff in the cloud. Is native live streaming TikTok Live? No. I don't know why it shocks a lot of people that you can actually do it through OBS. But I guess I could pass it through USB. I think this was designed to be a device that you plug in and then you would do the programming off the device there. So, I'm curious now. Azure Sphere OS 2026. Yeah, so this is the problem. Not only is this hardware pretty much retired, they end of life the hardware. So the MCU is end of lifed as of this year. And the updates for security and all that get end of lifed in 2031. So that's the problem with a lot of Microsoft stuff. Because this is the first generation. So what's the next generation? Or are they not even planning another one? Oh. Okay, I see. So they're looking at FIPS compliance and PSA, SCS IP, and then... Okay. I just asked you something. Is cybersecurity market still good? Give a good chance for SOC analyst or pen tester without having a uni degree? Pen testing is almost next to impossible to do without having experience. That is, if cybersecurity is already hard to get in, penetration testing is even harder. Just being honest with you. I know everyone it seems like wants to be a pen tester, but if you skip over all the other things, you're not even going to get considered for pen testing in most cases, because in order to be an effective pen tester, you need to understand a lot of those other core concepts first. What is cybersecurity and what are you guys doing as a job? So cybersecurity is, well, basically the act of protecting the assets and information of, you know, people and the companies. And it's not just digitally. We also can encompass physical security, you know, with cameras, you know, and perimeter security and just where the gaps need to be covered there for risk assessments, things like that. All right. Anyway. Oh yeah, and I got a new t-shirt, by the way. This came in today. It's one of the OG hacker movies from 1995. Does the market still give good chance for SOC analysts in 2026 without a uni degree? I mean, I got into be an engineer without a degree. But the thing is, I can't entirely speak for what's, happened over the past few years, because what's changed over the past few years is quite a bit different, because with all these application tracking systems being more AI dependent, which means that humans have to program the criteria that they need specifically, that experience that I have may not necessarily be completely accurate to what is today. Now, there are a lot of people that tell me on smaller businesses that is totally possible, but there are quite a many businesses out there that are using application tracking systems and still looking at degrees and pieces of paper for checkboxes, which is unfortunate. Maybe easier finding job in networking, maybe Cisco. Well, networking is a foundational job that I think that everyone should, networking is foundational knowledge that everyone should, at least understand anyway. I came up through networking. Yeah. Oh, I also got a couple other shirts, by the way, that came in today, too, with my, Hackers t-shirt. We got the, I found it on, like, a sale somewhere for, like, I think it was, like, $8. And I was like, what the hell? So, got the piratebay.org. And then, some of y'all are gonna, crack up at this one. There was definitely some alcohol involved in this purchase. I will tell all of you this. Like I said, there was definitely some alcohol involved in that purchase. I think there was like something I was like extra pissed off at, like some televangelist shit that came up on YouTube, and was like, screw it, I'm gonna buy my Jewish ass a Join the Satan t-shirt. And I woke up, and when I was, going to the bathroom, I'm like, I swear to God, I remember I had a stupid idea to buy a Satan t-shirt. And then I like woke up and I'm like, well, there's your confirmation. I'm like, well, it'll at least be good for Halloween or something. Alright. Now, I got some other cool things. So, here. So, I got some art in, because, I've been wanting to decorate the house for a while, and there's some stuff that caught my eye. So I got a bunch of anime ones. So some of y'all have probably seen the, anime, radio stuff that I picked up at Hamvention for free. So these are, like, acrylic ones, apparently. And there's, like, some wicked deal. So I was like, what the hell? Some of these, okay, there may have been alcohol involved, but there was actually, like, some pretty nice ones I was thinking to put up all around the house. What's a DDoS? A distributed denial of service. The only difference between it and a DOS is, well, a DOS is a denial of service. It's just distributed. So all they're trying to do is just send enough resources down your pipe so that you can't, well, render service. Is Java still the dominant backend language? I don't think so. Do you ever move into gov work? At state level, yeah. Federal, not so much. Alright, let's see. There was this one, which was kind of trippy because it had like Rick and Morty, there was Futurama, Aqua Teen Hunger Force. I'm definitely going to be putting these all over the house. What are my go-to animes? It's kind of hard to say, like, go-to, but definitely, like, Full Metal Alchemist is definitely... The Brotherhood one is tops in my book there. Ghost in the Shell standalone complex. One Piece, been caught up for that. Speaking of which... got Luffy over here. Do you think Microsoft would hire you? I think they would. They hire quite a few Linux people and stuff. They have divisions for that, but would I want to work for them? Yeah, that's probably a different question. Funny story, actually. I do have friends that actually do work at Microsoft, and they actually did want to hire me at one point. So that's technically not a hypothetical. Yeah. Oh, they were talking to me as a threat hunter. And then we got Roronoa Zoro. Why did you get your, get a Star of David tattooed on you if you're Jewish? Well, I think you just kind of answered your own question there, didn't ya? How did you learn cybersecurity? Well, I just got curious one day and just went down that rabbit hole. Alright, this is the last one of this batch. There's, I think, about 8 more coming in, actually. Oh, and the cool thing about these posters, they're acrylic. So, like, they're not just, like, these are solid, so I gotta get these mounted against the wall. So this one is definitely gonna go above the bar, and this is another one of my favorite animes. For Cowboy Bebop. We got Spike with Spiegel's Whiskey. I think that'll go great right, you know, above. Majority of old school Jews never get a tattoo for a reason. Okay, and you're acting as if, like, just because a bunch of older people did it, that determines that just because we shouldn't do it either ourselves. You do realize, like, there's millions of people out here doing things that are counter to what their parents and grandparents have done. Do you regret getting into cyber? No. I don't regret getting into cyber. The path here was definitely a bit interesting. Not the most traditional way, I'll be honest. So, yeah. Yeah, I think these, were all pretty nice. We got about 8 more that I think are coming in. So I'm gonna figure out, how and where I'm gonna hang these around the house. Probably get some, like, 3M poster stuff. This one's definitely gonna be right above the bar. Wait, no, not that one. This one. Let's not crack them. That one's definitely going to be right above the bar. And then I'm thinking like some of these are going to be along the stairs as you walk up and down. This is probably going to be down here in the studio somewhere. I'm going to probably like slip this in with a bunch of the family photos to like see if anyone catches it. Yeah, say for a game or something, would you hack them back? No. And y'all need to like understand real life isn't fantasy like this. This isn't like Hollywood. Real life isn't like this where you can just hack back the hacker. It doesn't really work like that. And in order to hack back the hacker, you would have to have so much set up in place for honeypot in the first place that, I mean, like, you're going down a whole other route at that point. Like, this is like in the realm of fantasy. This is where I'm not trying to pick on you. I'm gonna get on my soapbox here because it's a good moment to take about this. This is why I hate the Hollywoodification of a lot of topics like cybersecurity. Why is it that Mr. Robot is the only thing in media that we have that is reasonably accurate on cybersecurity, and every other thing is completely way off base? From the NCIS with Abby and McGee with two people on the same keyboard to, you know, like making, like everyone in Hollywood makes it look so easy, like you can just hack it, like one person's gonna take down the entire military, or you can just hack back a hacker like that. Like, can you potentially track them back and do that? I mean, yeah, but you would have to basically have a trap laying and wait for all. It's not like it just like is like, oh, you get detected and it's like, oh, we intercept them and then you just, you know, inject the flu shot, just like this movie shows them in Hackers. Like, don't get me wrong, movies like Hackers, great, they're entertainment. They are fun to watch, but they are fiction, they are fantasy. They are there for entertainment. But when you are looking at what Hollywood is talking about, you have to remember almost everything that they're telling you, whether it's in Grand Theft Auto or any of this shit, or even the game Watch Dogs for the most part. Now, Watch Dogs has some concepts they talk about, but they take extreme liberties with it. And even then, there's like a few things that are to the extreme, you know, where it's like, no, this is complete fantasy. It's a fun game, don't get me wrong. But the point being, like, no. You don't just hack back a hacker. Got my bachelor's in CS, what else do I need? And how do I get started? You need experience. So the thing is, and I'm not trying to pick on you specifically, I'm just trying to say this because this is the thing I notice when well, not everybody, but a plurality, I would say, of people come in a chat and they're like, I have my degree in cybersecurity, what do I need next? And I'm like, well, what's your experience in IT? Not cybersecurity. Because you ain't gonna get straight into cybersecurity just with a degree in cybersecurity. I kind of am coming of the opinion, and this might grind some gears, and I'm saying this as someone who has been in the field for 15 years and is in the middle of going for their cybersecurity degree right now, that I don't necessarily agree with people going straight out the gate for their cybersecurity degree. And there's a couple reasons why. One, there's almost nothing I can tell you that you're going to learn in college from cybersecurity that you're not going to learn in the field. Almost everything there you're going to learn in the field, and it's going to be a way better lesson than you're going to get in the classroom about that in terms of cybersecurity. Not only that, like, the problem that I see with a lot of the cybersecurity curriculum and, you know, just, you know, the culture of people trying to get them into this career is they don't give them the reality of that cybersecurity is usually building upon IT, and they want to see IT experience, and that's why often in cybersecurity those entry-level positions aren't necessarily entry-level, and they still have, you know, 1 to 3 year or more experience required for entry-level positions, because it's entry-level in terms of cybersecurity, but you have been in IT to understand at least some of the concepts. And I know I've beat this dead horse quite a bit, in the same way that in medicine, you don't go straight into being an oncologist, a cardiologist, or something like that. You learn general medicine, then you specialize. You get the base concepts down, then you specialize. How do you get experience? You can home lab, you can work for various different jobs, like there's help desk jobs, there's managed service providers. Managed service providers is one of the big ways that I generally recommend a lot of people to go check out. It is definitely a bit more stressful than typical enterprise, because you're wearing many different hats and you're gonna be doing different things every day. Like, I was managing anywhere from 10 to 12 different clients and environments any given day or week. But you learn so much, because any given day I'm managing Active Directory, I'm managing Linux, Windows, I could be managing Mac, I could be managing, Active Directory, like I said. There could be directory list systems like Jump Cloud or an Okta system. There could be, you know, setting up Unify. There's been some Cisco iOS stuff I've set up, and, you know, so you get experience with a lot of things, and you're gonna, you know, learn very fast how to research and learn on the go. But yeah, shirt is elite. Yeah, I just got it in today, along with some of the art for the house and some of the other shirts. I'll put these down before I drop them, and I'll put the couple of t-shirts here. We got the Pirate Bay one and the trying to church state. But yeah. So the one thing I definitely will never do is try to BS people, because there is this one thing I've noticed, and even though, how should I put this? I don't necessarily watch TikTok all that much. I do at least check it out once in a while. And I did notice that there's this trend among cybersecurity influencers where there's people that you can tell that have just joined cybersecurity. Either they are in their first job themselves, they are trying to get in the field themselves, or such, and they're trying to sell all this BS about, hey, get this free cert, or do this path, or you can make 90K in 90 days, and it's really sleazy and grifty how a lot of these influencers are. And it's quite shocking how many cybersecurity influencers I've come across that when you go through their content, don't actually educate anything on cybersecurity. Not even on the basic concepts, would it be, philosophically, you know, just or even at a technical level. And that blows my mind that you literally have people here just trying, like you said, trying to basically just sit there and sell a course. And the funny thing is, I ain't got time to sit there and sell some BS course or there. I barely got enough time to, you know, sit around and make the YouTube videos that I should be making the YouTube videos of. Hell, as it was, I had to get bullied by several of my friends to go and make the presentation so that I could go do the speaking gig. Because do you know how many years my friends have been bugging me to go do speaking gigs? They're like, Chief, you should go do a speaking gig on this topic. You should go do a speaking gig on that topic. Well, I finally got bullied. The trick is, have friends IRL, and when they actually know where you are, you can't hide from them. You know how easy it is to become an Amazon bestseller author? I would presume there's a way to game the system. I feel like social media is full of grift. Oh, and social media is totally full of grift. That's why I am trying my best to do the opposite of a bunch of this BS I see, and that's be as genuine as I can honestly be. Because here's the thing. I don't... I never... sorry. I've told many people this, and I've said this in my community. I've had people, you know, ask me, like, you know, how did you plan to become an influencer or anything like that? I'm like, I didn't. I got bored in my house during COVID, recorded some shit on TikTok, people followed me, and things just happened. Never planned on this shit. This has never been, I've never planned to be a content creator, never planned to do any of this shit. It just kind of happened. It's been a fun thing. I've kept up with it. So as far as I'm concerned, it's like, okay, it pays a little bit for my hardware for me to tinker and experiment and educate all of you with. And I'm like, that's cool. But this is not my primary job. So this is just kind of an extension of my job. So it's like, why even bother bullshitting people? I don't understand the need to bullshit people on social media and pretend that you're to be something that you're not. Like those people that go and rent Lamborghinis. Why the hell would you need a Lamborghini to go fake that you're this wealthy or something like that? I've never understood that. I have no idea who the hell that is. So maybe y'all shouldn't put words in my mouth on stupid shit. Find me a course in Omic. And what is the point of Twitch ads if the ads are just to advertise Twitch to skip ads? What's up, Thunder K? How would you roadmap a path into cybersecurity? So there is an app called roadmap.sh. That's roadmap.sierra hotel. So that is where I would probably recommend looking at. It's not like, you know, an exact, like, everything, like, follow this to the T, but gives you a good general idea from what I see of how you can at least, you know, plan out a pathway for you to learn different topics and things. Not that you have to cover all of this stuff or all of these different entities and technologies, but just kind of give an idea of, like, all the different things out there. Tell me the one thing that's been helpful for you when it comes to AI. Learning to run your own infrastructure with AI and not having to rely on just doing the what everyone else is doing. Once you learn to actually control things through Markdown and XML files, you can do a hell of a lot more. But at the base level, if you're having it do code, check the code, at least understand what it's trying to do, because it will bite you in the ass if you have it do too much. Then eventually, you don't even know what it's doing and somebody else tries to come in. You need to architect things the right way from the get-go. There are too many disasters that people have had where they vibe code things from the get-go, don't architect it, and there's so much redundant code, so much just, you know, garbage code and everything that it's a mess, and you can't maintain it. Whereas, like, I can at least look at my projects that I've done. And yes, AI has written, I'd say, the majority of my projects, but I can at least go in there and orient myself within like 15 to 30 minutes, maybe in a couple of hours, of what's going on and start understanding what I need to do. Whereas a lot of people will create that problem. I can just about run coin code next. I have to close everything just compared to Claude 4.0. Problem with Claude like 4.7 and 4.8 is it just costs so much to run that it's feeling like we're getting to the point of diminishing returns. It's feeling like we're running into walls with the capabilities of AI, that we're now at the point of diminishing returns. Like, if you remember, a few years ago, we were using ChatGPT 3 and 3.5, and they were radical, and then we were going to ChatGPT 4, and it felt like this massive lift, and then ChatGPT 5, and it felt like a... Claude 4.7 felt great. I mean, 4.6 felt great, and then 4.7 felt... You know what I mean? Sync and Center Cube are great to use to check your code. You mean Sneak? Sierra, November, Yankee, Kilo? I know it autocorrect messes that up. What are your thoughts on hackathons? They can be fun. It depends on who's running them. Mangle Cloud Security Engineer. When should I go for an IT job? Whenever. When do you want to retire? I don't know. 65 or so? Yeah, they needed a couple from CUDA systems. I think Google just, they released their, inference hardware or something like that. Wiz, however, is pretty good. Wiz, however, doesn't have a free version for open source code. I do like Wiz. Do not get me wrong. I'm trying to get Wiz over at where I work. But Sneak for a free solution for open source software is not bad. Alright, let's catch up to where we were. Where were we last stream? I should have left a note for myself, but I didn't, because I'm a schmuck. Okay, come on, where are we? Oh, here we are. We were at the 2-bit labs. We had some... Okay, the anchor thing. Microsoft Underwood. Okay. I'm just skipping ahead. There we go. Alright, so we'll catch up. We got Vanessa Wingard had this video. Nobody actually wants AI anymore. The AI backlash. We build an ingest system automatically create an incident ticket when Wiz detects something. Yeah. Wiz charges you separately for API access, which is insane. The hell? Stream together and shoot the ish about IT and sec. Maybe. But I'm like simulcast like 4 different platforms, so it's a little bit tricky. Maybe. Only way I can think of coordinating is maybe through the Discord or something. Well, I'll have to think that. Alright.
Put a finger down if you have recently had
too loud.
a meeting where they announced that we are an AI-first company.
I'm anti-AI because I know that it's bad for the environment.
Why is AI being absolutely forced down our throats?
I don't want...
Can I just say that I hate the whole AI first company thing, and I'm not necessarily anti-AI. Because the problem is you have a bunch of these executives that are just trying to latch onto the hype that is AI, and trying to be considered an AI company, and don't fucking know what the hell they're asking for.
To see an egg turn into a fucking bird.
I'm so sick of AI. Like, I'm so sick of AI. AI this, AI that, AI, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, whatever the fuck.
Companies are threatening to fire employees who won't use AI, while admitting AI isn't actually working.
I swear to God, I'm going to lose my mind if one more person at work sends me an email and they say, leverage AI to complete this task. As though I didn't need 7 years of industry experience to even apply for the job. What was the point if all you're going to do is ask me to put it in AI? Can't I use my brain? Am I not more valuable than ChatGPT? And I don't really give a what Copilot thinks.
The people
Yeah, and here's the problem. If you're using Copilot, the business Copilot, a lot of people don't even know this in terms of Microsoft Copilot. So you have Microsoft Copilot, the base Copilot. Then you have the Copilot Plus, which actually is okay. And that can actually reference all your documentation inside of SharePoint. But if you're just on the base one, it's bullshit.
Existing AI aren't Luddites or boomers. These are people who have spent years perfecting their craft and genuinely enjoyed their work. Now we're all being told to leverage AI. And
yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Copilot 365. And don't forget, you also got GitHub Copilot, along with, you know, they have too many Copilot. Microsoft has this problem where they're like, we need to name this product. Oh, I like that product name. Let's attach it to 50 fucking things. Like, do you remember Azure AD? You remember Azure AD? Which eventually became Entra?
Push AI into every crevice of our lives.
Can I talk to a real person?
You bet. You're talking to a real live booking agent right now. Southern Charm and all. I can help you with reservations.
Cortana became Copilot. That's the thing that blows my mind. They had in Windows 10 Cortana, right? The name was right there. You literally could have just taken Cortana. The fucking AI that we had from our childhoods. You could have freaking just taken your marketing department, plucked the strings of nostalgia, given Cortana's voice, and you would have sold like to millions of millennials right there. Like, suddenly it's like, oh my god, I am Master Chief now. I have Cortana with me. But no, Microsoft fumbled the ball. And instead it's like, Copilot. You had a good name. You had it right there. You literally had to rebadge nothing. You literally could have, like, left all the branding the same. And just said Cortana, now with AI. But no! Like, I want to know how much lead paint chips were involved in the diet of the marketing department of Microsoft behind all their AI shit when they decided to push Copilot and kill off Cortana. Like, think about it. Like, look, I am not a pro, like, I don't like Copilot on the physical machines, but I'm just saying they could have pulled on the nostalgia strings here and said, we're finally bringing Cortana to life, and this is the first step. Like, this would have been, like, I could have created, like, I'm not even a marketing person, and I'm coming up with a better marketing campaign here to market towards the millennials right now, and Gen Z that grew up with Halo. Like, seriously. You own Master Chief! The IP is right there. It would have cost you nothing. Nothing. Just buy your freaking voice actors, slap Cortana on it. Hell, maybe do the little razor thing, have her little image, pop up, in the little holograph thing, like with the razor, little, forget what her name was, Project Ava, Aria, whatever the hell thing that was. You could have sold that too. But no, Microsoft completely fumbled the ball, just like they did with the entire Xbox gaming concept as a whole. Okay? Sorry, I went on a rant. But it needed to be done. Code Cortana to put on your phone, replace Hey Google or Hey Siri. Yeah! Like, do you know how cool, like, look, if we had Halo 1 or Halo 2 Cortana's voice, if I could have her respond to my commands, fuck yeah, I would do that. Yes, even though I have AI disabled on my phone and all that shit, I do have Siri enabled, but not with, like, the AI features on the iPhone. Just because I could then say, I am the chief, and I have Cortana.
Special rate. Sound fair? What can I help you with today?
A real
Your service in Windows 10 because they're copyright for Cortana right now.
person at the Philadelphia location.
I hear you. Sometimes you just want that local touch. But if you really need to speak with someone
Good God!
in Philadelphia, I can text you their direct number or read it out loud.
I called the number that was texted to me by the last robot, and I'm talking to you again.
Oh, bless your heart. I can see how that'd be a little frustrating.
It describes
That would be freaking frustrating. You have an agent on the phone talking. At that point, I'm wondering, because we're dealing with a chat agent there, could we resurrect the art of phone freaking? Could we use phone freaking to mess with the AI, to hijack it, to do what we need it to do? Not like prompt engineering. I'm talking about whistle that motherfucker, or, speak to it in, a smooth Barry Manilow-esque way that will get it to do whatever, so desired in the Jedi mind trick kind of way.
itself as having Southern charm, then lies and insists it's a real person, as if we can't hear the truth. Not only is this replacing jobs, it's frustrating to deal with. The comments on this one are interesting. We all died in 2020 and this is hell. So the AI agent connected you to another AI agent. Insane.
But they give the AI a cowboy-ass accent. Okay, so I actually know this reason. Okay, so I actually used to do call center administration. So, generally speaking, there is a reason why they want to use Southern voices in certain markets. It's because the Southern accent is perceived as more hospitable. It's a whole Southern hospitality thing. They're trying to layer it on thick about that whole thing, because usually when you're calling in, it's, you're frustrated, so they're trying to, diffuse things before it even starts. It's it's really dumb, but that is what it is. It's the same way as like why certain places, when you call in, if you actually pay attention, most of the time they don't care it's a male or a female that actually is the speaker, voice actor, on the call line. But sometimes companies specifically demand a specific, gender of voice for certain markets.
The creator responded, "I was in the AI loop from hell."
Raise your hand if you're sick and tired of all of these companies and platforms and websites forcing their stupid AI bullshit down our throats. Why did I open the Amazon app the other day and get confronted with a new button that's like, "Hi, I'm Rufus, the new Amazon AI assistant. Be aware that because I'm still in beta, I may get some stuff wrong." Then why are you here? If you don't even fucking work, if you have to put a disclaimer up that this feature doesn't even work yet, get rid of it!
This AI FOMO has companies slapping AI into everything, as if we already didn't have chatbots. Why does...
Yeah, the thing that blows my mind is, as... I forgot who that was there. They're a popular TikToker. They were talking about, why are companies using AI admitting that it will get things occasionally wrong, when we in IT and cybersecurity know the golden rule of you do not test in production? So why are we using AI that we know is in beta in production?
Does an article have an AI summary for the article? Just read the article. Everyone agrees in the comments. Me reporting every AI TikTok ad as unpleasant. I hate that Pinterest is all AI now. I recently went on Pinterest looking for interior design inspiration, and it's just a bunch of AI photos. It's basic.
You know what? Because you can say that you're an AI company, since I use some tools that actually have AI involved in them, maybe I should go around, just market my LLC, go get some investors, maybe convert it to an S-Corp and see what I can fundraise. I'm not going to do that, because I'm not going to get beholden to investors and have my brand pay out to that. No, F that.
A digital...
But I did have people that actually did... propose that. I did have actually one party that actually tried to basically invest, what was it, like 50K? And I walked from it. I was like, I started reading and I'm like, nah, you want too much.
Photo album for ChatGPT generated image.
It was a 50K investment. It wasn't like 50K ownership per se, but it was still like, yeah, too much control.
There's no more creativity, it's just machine-generated AI slop.
I don't know why brands don't understand that we don't want AI. Like, brands are finding it really difficult to comprehend that we, the audience, the people who are watching your content, the people who are consuming your shit, do not want it to be AI generated. We are pushing back against AI.
The people have...
You know, that is actually something that I really find fascinating, is that there's the disconnect that a lot of people really don't understand that, and I, as a tech person, have had to explain that. It is really fascinating, to the point that we now have the pendulum swinging so far that I have people that think that my content that, you know, is on YouTube, when it's scripted, is AI generated, when it's just scripted and, you know, edited and worked on over and over and over for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Spoken. No more AI generated slop. But these brands aren't listening. They don't care. A comment left on this video sent me down a rabbit hole. Prada fragrance using AI had me laughing. I went searching for this clip on Prada's TikTok, but it doesn't exist. That's because they received so much backlash, they deleted it, but not before the internet roasted them. This is the clip. And as you can see, it's some weird AI generated animatronic.
What the shit is this? Is this like an LSD-powered version of Big Bird's Child with Sasquatch? What the shit? What is Prada what?
I don't know who greenlit this. Keep in mind, this coming from a luxury brand whose jackets start at $3,500. But it's not just in our free time that we're being forced to interact with AI. We're also being forced.
You can tell if a video is AI, all the video voices sound the same. Yeah, and here's another thing. I don't know if you've noticed this in my videos. So, I used to make an effort to go really hard to edit out any stutters or, you know, misspeakings or things like that in my videos. I purposely leave errors now so people can see I'm human. Because to my knowledge, AI is capable of doing that, but they're not really doing that.
Forced at work to keep our jobs.
Looking for work right now is so ridiculously difficult because what do you mean like 80% of the jobs I've looked at in the last 3 days have some type of AI component? Leave me alone. Let me do the work.
Oh, you know, this is hilarious because they're talking about this. Like, so, as you know, I left my last job about 3 months ago to go for a senior position that's paying more. My last job was a little bit toxic, and they were overworking me, and they were not giving me a promotion. The VP was a piece of shit, yada, yada, yada. You've heard me complain about this for weeks, and anyway. So, the point that I'm getting on with this is they finally posted the position for my old job, and I was curious. What are they asking for? Now, I know what they're paying for is way below what anyone is actually should be getting paid for that position. They're asking for AI in that position. They're asking for AI amongst other things in that position, and literally asking for, like, you know, them to be able to understand APIs and be able to learn how to build, Python applications and stuff like that. And it's just kind of funny. And I'm like, yeah, you are asking for all the things that I literally did. Yeah, and this is a problem that we have. Yeah.
Me do it. I don't want the robot doing it.
The use of AI is eliminating our own skill set. And I know someone is going to comment on this video saying AI makes me so much more efficient. Okay, more efficient for who exactly? Your employer? Are they paying you more? We've adopted the same talking points as...
I mean, my new employer is, yeah, for my AI skills, but that's probably not the point you're making. It does make my more tedious work more efficient, especially my side work. So, there's that. But, I mean, I see your point.
As these AI CEOs, but with none of the upside. We're actually stealing from ourselves, and the research shows this. Researchers found that after about 10 minutes of AI interaction, performance improves in the short term, but people perform significantly worse without AI afterward. They're more likely to give up. The researchers argue that persistence is foundational to acquiring new skills and is one of the strongest indicators of long-term learning. Sustained use, they warn, risks eroding our own human capabilities. This is why it's so frustrating that companies are now forcing us to use AI despite what the research shows.
Yeah, see, but this is what... I guess the point that she's making, though, is the people that are using AI to think for them. If you're using AI as a tool, that's totally fine. Like, I use it as, like, okay, so I need to go study this API library, like when I was going to... do something with Microsoft Azure last week. So what I ended up doing was I looked up the Microsoft Azure library through Google, went through all of that stuff. Then what I did was I copied the relevant sections in there, and then I said, this is the information specific to this. I'm thinking that we're going to need these variables. What's the best way to lay out this so that I can pull this data in and have it normalized to look like that data? But you see, I was kind of like, I wasn't asking it to think A to Z. I already had grabbed all the other pieces, and at that point it's like, okay, now I just need to know all the tedium of all this information here to get that through. But yeah. Give it a roadmap to follow. Yep.
This comment reads, "It is so dystopian how the tech company that I love working for, by the way, just one day was like, we will be tracking and enforcing your AI usage." Enforcing AI usage is becoming a huge problem. Of the enterprise companies surveyed, 60% plan to lay off employees who can't or won't use AI. They're enforcing AI usage and they're adding it to employee performance reviews. So you get situations like this. Uber set a $3.4 billion AI budget for their research and development team for all of 2026. They blew through that budget in just 4 months. So which engineers are using these tools because they find them genuinely helpful, and which engineers are gaming the system because they don't want to get fired? Anytime an employer forces anything, you get malicious compliance. And the question nobody is asking is, what's the actual value of any of this?
This is what happens when you give very business people unrestricted access to unlimited Claude. So this guy goes and he's like, I have these PowerPoint slides that I'm going to turn into a website. So now he has effectively taken these slides, made a website, hosted the website.
Oh no.
So he can share the content of the slides with his coworkers.
Oh no.
That sounds very similar to sending an attachment via email containing your PowerPoint slides. And it doesn't actually add any value.
This is the
I'm gonna have to rehear that to make sure that my brain did not just break.
People unrestricted access to unlimited Claude. So this guy goes and he's like, I have these PowerPoint slides that I'm going to turn into a website. So
Okay, you're gonna turn a PowerPoint to a website.
taken these slides, made a website, hosted the website so that he can share the content of the slides with his coworkers. That sounds very similar to sending an attachment via email containing your PowerPoint slides. And it doesn't actually add any value.
So he made a PowerPoint and then made a website to host the PowerPoint so people can view the slides from the website. So the dude spent probably, I'd say at least an hour or two doing absolutely F all for no reason. Because he could have literally done that by going to Microsoft PowerPoint in Office 365 and hit share document. Or go to Canva and share presentation. Like, this feature has pre-existed AI. Like, wow. I'm gonna, yeah, like, wow, my brain is broken. You could have done that over Google Drive or Dropbox. Well, yeah, but the point being is, like, it's literally in PowerPoint. Like, you go to, what is it, File, and then I think Share? Like, there's an option right there in PowerPoint. Like, I'm just gonna throw this out there. He asked Claude this. I'm pretty sure if he had asked Microsoft Copilot, and again, I'm not the biggest fan of Copilot, it would have at least said you can share this document through Office 365. But this is the point when I say that people are like, well, Claude, can do this, and, it can architect and engineer for you, and, you just have to babysit it, and I'm like, Claude doesn't know what the hell it's doing half the time if you don't know what the hell you're doing.
Containing your PowerPoint slide.
Version of a day in my life. 95% of the things that I hear people wanting to use AI for already exists. The other day,
Yep. That's true. The majority of things that people have told me that they use AI for already exist. The difference is that you can at least look at my tools. My tools in my GitHub, the ones that are using AI. You can at least say they either currently or at the time when they were created were the first or one of the only ones to do exactly what they were doing. So Franken LLM set up an entire setup of an AI server with mismatched GPUs. Okay. Stream Daemon could use AI and then be able to announce when you're live on Twitch, Kick, or YouTube, and then post to Blue Sky, Discord, Matrix, or Mastodon. So, and then you could run that through Gemini or your local Llama. But that specific part wasn't really there because I'm going to tell you for a fact, the reason why I created that tool was there was no stream announcement tool that I found at the time for Kick. And there certainly weren't integrations for Blue Sky or Mastodon, so I made them. Like your NetPulse repo? Yeah, I still need to test that one. That's been, so far, just a POC that I at least did some basic unit tests on, but I need to actually put it into production. It was one of those, I'm at least getting the idea out there, out of my mind, onto code, and then putting it out there, and then I will revisit it later. Later hasn't really quite come.
One said, let's use AI to sort that, as opposed to a sorting algorithm. It's just reinventing the wheel, and it's not helpful at all. There's no value.
Oh, so the point that she made, sorry to like pause again, but you know, she was saying like sorting algorithm, things like that. This is actually something I've talked about quite often, where you know, investors, they want to see AI injected so that they can invest in AI companies, and they'll just reinvent the wheel with AI, even though a more basic algorithm would actually do exactly what they're asking for. I see this all the time, where you have people trying to tell you what is essentially just algorithmic logic, just regular programmatic logic, is AI. And they're marketing it as AI, so they can say that they have AI, but it's not actually AI in the way that a lot of people are thinking, that is a large language model or such. So, yeah.
Definitely gonna get left behind because I don't...
You're still working on Sim Docker Stack? Yes, I am. I just haven't had time to sit back and really get into it. I've done some tweaks, I just haven't pushed any of the tweaks to the GitHub, but it's being worked on.
Don't think AI needs to be inserted into everything. Like I heard about someone creating an AI agent to scrape Slack and their email, and they're like, it gives me a to-do list every morning. I'm like, I'd make banger to-do lists, and I'm not going to stop making my own to-do list anytime soon.
Why are we using AI agents to create to-do lists? Not to sound like a corporate lunatic here, but what's the impact? It should not be that hard to read Slack and to write a list using pen and paper.
Okay, I will argue, I will push back on this one point here. All right? I'm not necessarily an anti-AI guy. I'm not necessarily, you know, the AI bro either. But I will say this, anyone who actually has worked in an environment where you are pulled in many directions, I can have several meetings a day, you will know that you cannot remember everything about every single meeting. So there have actually been times that I have actually asked the Microsoft 365 Copilot what was actually discussed from the notes of said certain meeting or that. I will definitely tell you that. And I'm not saying that as someone who doesn't make their own lists. I make my own Excel spreadsheets for my own budgets, my own personal budgets, okay? So I'm not saying this as someone that's like, you know, being lazy. There is a time where you get to have your hands in so many different projects that you cannot remember every single plate that is spinning and every little minutia of detail, that there are times that these little AI assistant agents actually are useful. I will at least give that credibility.
Engineer, and I'm beginning to feel this AI fatigue, as they call it. There's new stuff coming out every single day, and then all these people are feeling pressure to learn these new things right when they come out. And why do I feel like I'm less productive now than before? Because even before, when I was coding more manually, at least I had a straight line of sight, right? But now it's like 10 different agents running at once, and then I forget what this agent is doing. This agent takes like 20 minutes. It's just like so much going on. But I really think it's making me more scatterbrained, and I don't really like it. Hence the AI fatigue.
If you don't work...
So I understand her point as well, that there's so many different pieces going, but the honest truth is that's kind of how cybersecurity always works, at least from the way that I work, because we're, at least in my history, we are often in a state of hurry up and wait. So we are setting up systems, waiting, we're operating multiple different systems at the same time, fingers in different pots at the same time. We have different teams we're dealing with, that projects are in different states and flows at any given time. Cybersecurity, you have to get used to the fact that very often your projects will stall. They may actually get mothballed midway for whatever reason because priorities change from the business. So that is just par for the course. So while, you know, the young lady was, you know, talking about coding and she felt like she had more line of sight with coding because, you know, with, you know, Agile, you can at least, you know, be, you know, kind of just focused in on this is your project, focus in on that, and then they just kind of like lay work down in front of you and they're just managing the work in front of you. That is not the same thing for how I've dealt with in my career, where that is actually quite the norm for my day.
In tech, you may not know the new way of working where everyone is essentially using AI agents for everything. But as she said, they encounter errors, they make mistakes. It's a lot of context switching and you forget what you were actually doing, which leads to this AI fatigue. And it's becoming so common that Harvard calls it brain fry. Their research revealed that intensive oversight of AI agents is leading to mental fog, difficulty focusing, slower decision making, and headaches. We've taken multitasking to the next level. We're producing more than ever, although the value is still very questionable. And remember that survey from earlier, the companies talking about they will fire people for not using AI? Well, that same survey found that few leaders are saying they've seen significant return on investment from generative AI, 29%. Or
oh yeah, and remember that company that I left a few months ago for my new job? I'm gonna move myself, by the way, because I just realized she's in the corner. They apparently released a new key performance indicator that they're actually measuring people based on their AI usage. So it's a great thing that I left my last job when I did, because they are going down the shitter. I'm going to tell you a few, some of the shittiest ways to prove that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about when it comes to IT and cybersecurity and development is give us KPIs of lines of code, Git commits, AI usage, and ticket count. Like, those four things are straight up metrics if you're judging people based on without full context. you don't know what the hell you're talking about, and you're just throwing numbers in to have it on a slideshow for your deck for the C-suite.
AI agents, 23%, and nearly half, 48%, feel that AI adoption at their company has been a massive disappointment. So they're not seeing a return on their investment, and the adoption of AI has been disappointing, and yet they're steamrolling ahead anyway.
Change can be daunting. The rise of artificial intelligence is the next industrial revolution. What happened? Okay, I struck a chord. May I finish?
Yeah, you struck a chord. Did you not know who you would be speaking to? Young graduates are being affected the most by AI, and they have to listen to the older generation, people who already established their careers and their wealth, lecture them about how AI is going to change their lives, as if they didn't already know. Here's the ex-Google CEO doing...
Hey, sure, that's going pretty good.
Context of artificial intelligence. Interesting. You will help shape artificial intelligence. We do not know. We do not know.
What amazes me is the huge amount of disconnect that you have between the executives and the companies and the actual people at the bottom, that they keep pushing this AI stuff, and they see that people are negative about it, and they don't turn course. I mean, it's like, at a certain point, you should realize, like, yes, you spent a bunch of money on this product. Yes, I understand you need to say, well, we spent money on this, we have to see it through. But at a certain point, you have to accept that it was a bad expense.
Precise contours, if you'd let me make this point, please. If you don't care about science, that's okay. Because AI is going to touch everything else as well. Whatever path you choose, AI will become part of how work is done.
They're gaslighting them to like it. Well, you know, I was thinking about this. I think one of the hardest things about the modern era for them to get us to be hooked on any kind of technology or that is that media is decentralized nowadays. There is no centralization of media consumption. Like, think about just today. Today, when I was, waking up this morning, I turned on my live TV. I was watching over-the-air TV, got the local news, but then I, turned on Crunchyroll, watched Prime Video throughout the day while I was working, and then I was also, flipping through a little bit of YouTube and then, TikTok. So my methods of consuming media are totally different than another person, whereas to like 20 years ago, the answer for the most part would have been the same of you were watching TV and I was watching TV for the most part, and the difference would be what channel you were watching, unless you were doing, like, maybe you're on the internet, something like that, but you get the point that I'm saying. So I really think that it's hard for them to condition us to accept a lot of the technology as standard as compared to when we grew up. Because let's, ironically, think about the cell phone. Remember our parents were growing up telling us that cell phones basically were just, portable spying devices? And then eventually we got them to do that, and now we're doing that. Now we're sitting around, and we're actually thinking and having these discussions about technology rather than just going and, consuming a technology. Because a lot of these discussions around the threats of what could potentially be theoretically around cell phones were very much happening in the same ways that they were happening around AI, but the difference was those discussions were very muffled and in much smaller spaces that didn't have their voices amplified because, well, the media landscape is completely different than it was. I could also be off base here, and this is just my theory.
Don't worry, AI is going to touch all jobs, and he can't understand why these young people don't want to hear this. Corporations have invested billions into AI, and now they need to prove to investors and board members that it was all worth it. Usage becomes their justification. Never mind that a lot of users are being forced to interact with AI, like when people do a simple Google search and they get an AI summary. They don't care about how valuable this is to the
Show
user.
us on the doll where AI touched you.
Sheer volume of users, because volume has become the illusion of value.
So you want my AI to answer the email that your AI wrote?
I want your AI reading my AI generated email and answering my email. Go ahead, respond to me. Wrong. You should be using AI for this. No more reading emails, okay? You should have Lindy do this for you, your AI assistant, okay?
I think I remember where that skit was, the My Tech CEO. That was actually a pretty good one. Alright, next video. Geography by Jeff. Why 60,000 people live on a rock with 0 resources. This seemed kind of interesting to me. Alright, let's see.
In the middle of the Atlantic, there's an island that has 0 natural resources, sits totally isolated, and is a literal bullseye for Hurricane Alley. Geographically, it should be a desolate rock that we collectively ignore, but instead, it's an incredibly wealthy country with over 60,000 people. Why? Because this tiny island placed billion-dollar bets on the world.
Oh yeah, that's the Cayman Islands.
Disasters. I'm Jeff, and this is the incredible geographic story behind Bermuda.
Oh, Bermuda?
When most people
what the hell was I thinking Caymans?
They immediately picture the Caribbean. They imagine it sitting down near Jamaica, Puerto Rico, or the Bahamas.
That's what I was thinking!
Share a similar name, surrounded by tropical neighbors and calm, shallow seas. But this is a massive geographic...
Any thoughts of the RTX Spark?
Bermuda isn't in the Caribbean.
Yeah, I've been wanting to get one of those.
Alone in the vast, seemingly endless expanse of the North Atlantic Ocean. To put its location in perspective, the closest landmass isn't another island. It's the coast of North Carolina, specifically Cape Hatteras, which sits about 650 miles or 1,000.
Oh, you're talking about the RTX Spark. Oh, the new NVIDIA ARM-based thing for Windows laptops and stuff. Could be interesting. I do know that I want a NVIDIA DGX Spark.
1,050 kilometers to the west. To drive this point even further, if you were to hop in a boat and sail straight east from Bermuda, you wouldn't hit land again until you crashed into the coast of Morocco in North Africa, over 3,000 miles away. There are no neighboring islands to trade with. There's no protective archipelago to break the ocean's fury. Bermuda is a lone speck in the deep blue, which begs the question, why is it there at all? And more to that point, how does a solitary landmass just pop up in the middle of nowhere? The answer lies deep beneath the ocean's surface, in a violently explosive past. Bermuda is actually the very tip of a massive, extinct underwater volcano known as the Bermuda Pedestal. Millions of years ago, a geologic hotspot punched a hole through the Earth's crust, spewing lava and building a colossal mountain that rose 15,000 feet from the sea floor. Over time, the volcano went dormant and began to sink back down. But as it sank, something remarkable happened. Microscopic maritime organisms began building coral reefs around the rim of the sinking caldera. As the sea levels fluctuated over successive ice ages, these reefs were exposed, crushed into sand by the wind and waves, and compacted into solid limestone. So when you walk on Bermuda today, you're not walking on volcanic rock. You're walking on the fossilized remains of millions of years of coral reefs, resting high above
interesting.
a volcanic mountain. But being an ancient coral reef comes with a severe, almost fatal, geographic drawback. A drawback that should make human life here almost impossible. You see, because Bermuda is entirely made of highly porous limestone, it has absolutely 0 natural freshwater resources. Think about what that means for a developing civilization. There are no rivers to draw from. There are no freshwater lakes. There are no deep aquifers to pump drinking water from. When it rains, the water simply filters straight through the porous rock and mixes with the salty ocean water below. For a landmass located hundreds of miles from the nearest drop of fresh water...
Wait, then how do all the green plants...
This is a
what are they, like air plants?
You can't grow vast fields of crops without water. You can't support them.
Linux support for ARM grows fast since NVIDIA came out. The CPU for ARM. Linux support for ARM has been there for years. Windows and Linux were on ARM before Apple even was, believe it or not. You can actually even look that up. Might, you know, get a lot of the Apple people going, nuh-uh, but even though Apple did get further along with ARM, Windows did start it first. A little water through the sand through, though. Well,
you'd think that this sheer lack of basic survival
nothing really to like
completely uninhabitable.
Trap the water.
Somehow, the people of Bermuda didn't just survive this. They engineered their way around it using a brilliantly simple architectural trick involving their white stepped roofs. Something we'll talk about in a bit. But before we get to human ingenuity, we need to talk about the water surrounding the island. Bermuda sits entirely within the Sargasso Sea, a fascinating region of the Atlantic and the only sea on Earth that has no land boundaries. It's defined entirely by ocean currents.
Really?
Forming a massive,
I didn't know there was a whole other sea in there. I just thought it was just a whole ocean.
Slow-moving vortex. More importantly, Bermuda owes its entire climate to one specific, powerful current, the Gulf Stream. Even though Bermuda sits well above the Tropic of Cancer, and therefore is well outside of the tropics zone, the warm waters of the Gulf Stream flow directly past the island and give it a similar tropics-like climate as the islands have in the Caribbean. This oceanic conveyor belt acts as a massive geographic space heater, keeping Bermuda pleasant year-round, and allowing those coral reefs to thrive much further north than they normally would anywhere else on the planet. But this ocean warmth is also a severe double-edged sword. Warm water is the exact fuel needed to power the planet's most destructive storms, and Bermuda's location places it directly in the firing line for North Atlantic hurricanes moving up the eastern seaboard of North America. It's a literal bullseye in the ocean. The island is routinely battered by Category 3, 4, and even 5 hurricanes. With no mountains to break the wind and no larger landmasses to absorb the storm surge, Bermuda takes the full, unfiltered brunt of the Atlantic's fury. By all logic, a flat, isolated island with no rivers, no natural resources, and a guarantee of catastrophic storms should be a desolate rock. And for a very long time, it was exactly that, a place completely avoided by humanity, a cursed island.
When did that change then?
Unlike almost every other part of the planet, for millions of years, Bermuda sat completely alone. And when human beings finally started crossing the oceans, it stayed that way. In fact, when the Spanish sea captain Juan de Bermudez first spotted the island in 1505, he made a crucial discovery. There was absolutely no one there, zero native population. Unlike the islands of the Caribbean, which were home to thriving indigenous civilizations, Bermuda's extreme isolation meant no humans had ever found it. It was a complete blank slate. But surprisingly, the Spanish didn't want it. As sailors approached the island, their wooden ships were regularly ripped to shreds by the treacherous, hidden coral reefs surrounding it. Those who survived the wrecks and made it near the shore.
Oh, there's got to be some cool wrecks around there to explore.
At night. The Spanish quickly named it the Isle of Devils and avoided it like the plague. Now, it turns out the demons were actually just the loud, eerie mating calls of the native cahao bird, mixed with the grunts of wild pigs left behind by earlier shipwrecks. But at the time, the island was deemed...
Isn't it funny how like a lot of the scary stories turn out to be like a lot of benign things like that?
Cursed. And so, it sat empty for another century. It would take a massive, terrifying natural disaster to finally force humans to settle the Isle of Devils. In 1609, an English ship named the Sea Venture was carrying colonists to the new settlement of Jamestown, Virginia. But en route, they sailed straight into a massive hurricane. Taking on water and rapidly sinking, the ship's admiral spotted Bermuda and intentionally drove the vessel into the island's reefs to prevent it from going down in the deep ocean. All 150 people survived. They spent 10 months on the island, building 2 new ships from the wreckage and native timber to finally sail on to Jamestown. But the island had made an impression. It wasn't a cursed wasteland. It was actually quite beautiful, and so a few men volunteered to stay behind to hold the claim. And by 1612, the English officially colonized Bermuda. But settling the island was one thing. Surviving it was another. Remember that?
I was gonna say, can you imagine, like, you know, to hold the claim, just having a few people stay behind, the original, like, first few people? That's gotta be a tough life.
Total lack of fresh water we talked about, the early English colonists had to solve this geographic nightmare immediately. Their solution was brilliantly simple, and it completely defined Bermuda's architecture. They began carving their roofs out of local limestone. arranging them in a distinct stepped terrace pattern, and painting them white to reflect the sun and purify the water. When it rained, the steps slowed the water down, catching every single drop and funneling it into large underground cisterns. Even today, it's written into Bermuda's building codes that every single house must catch its own rainwater this way. But while they had solved the water problem, they still had an economy problem. The colonists quickly realized that growing cash crops like tobacco was a dead end. The island was simply too small, and the limestone soil was too shallow to compete with the massive agricultural plantations in Virginia or the Caribbean. If you can't grow things, and you have no minerals to mine, how on earth do you build an economy on a tiny rock in the middle of the ocean? You turn to the ocean itself. Bermuda pivoted hard. They used the incredibly strong native Bermuda cedar to build famously fast and agile ships. They abandoned agriculture and became a maritime powerhouse. Bermudians dominated the regional salt trade, and perhaps most intriguingly, they turned to privateering, essentially highly organized, state-sponsored piracy. For a long time, Bermuda's economy thrived on legally intercepting enemy ships and taking their cargo. But the golden age of sail eventually ended, and privateering was outlawed. Once again, Bermuda was staring down economic ruin. They needed a new identity. And to understand how they forged their modern empire, you have to look at exactly who owns Bermuda today. You might assume Bermuda is an independent country. It has its own flag, its own Olympic team, and its own currency perfectly pegged to the
Are they British colony still? I'm taking it they're a British colony.
US dollar, but it's not independent. Bermuda is still a British overseas territory, the oldest one in
Okay, not a colony, but a territory.
The United Kingdom is highly unusual and totally critical to their wealth. Bermuda is almost entirely self-governing. They have their own parliament, which is actually one of the oldest continuous legislatures in the world, dating back to 1620. They elect their own
Wow.
and they write their own internal laws. The United Kingdom essentially only steps in for military defense and foreign diplomatic affairs. This extreme autonomy gave Bermuda a massive geopolitical superpower. Because they could write their own local laws, they could design their own tax code, and they decided they weren't going to charge any corporate income tax. This unique hybrid status, protected by the military might and stability of the British Empire, yet possessing total freedom to set their own financial rules, created the ultimate loophole in the global economy. Bermuda
So wait, they didn't tax them? Imagine if, like, the British had actually learned their lesson from there and didn't tax the American colonies. We'd be British.
Realized they didn't need to build ships or raid cargo anymore. They just needed to provide a safe, highly regulated, untaxed harbor for the world's money. But they didn't just become a generic, run-of-the-mill tax haven. They decided to specialize. They looked at their own history, at the hurricane that literally shipwrecked their founding fathers, and decided to monetize the one thing they knew better than anyone else on Earth. Absolute catastrophic disaster.
Ain't beating beans on toast.
To understand how Bermuda makes its money and finances basically its entire existence, you have to understand a concept called reinsurance. It sounds incredibly dry, but it's actually the high-stakes, multi-billion-dollar safety net that keeps the global economy from collapsing every time the wind blows too hard. Reinsurance is, very simply, insurance for insurance companies. Imagine a massive Category 5 hurricane slams into the coast of Florida. A regular insurance company, let's call them Windy Insurance, might suddenly have to pay out 100,000 claims, all at exactly the same time.
Right.
Build destroyed homes. But if Windy Insurance had to pay out all of those billions of dollars at once, they would go completely bankrupt. The homeowners would get nothing, and the regional economy would be ruined. So, to prevent this, Windy Insurance buys their own insurance policy. They transfer a massive chunk of their catastrophic risk to a reinsurance company. And where do the vast majority of the world's biggest property catastrophe reinsurance companies live? Right in the capital city of Hamilton, Bermuda.
Wait, what?
Their unique British overseas territory status, their lack of corporate income tax, and their proximity to the United States, which has the highest concentration of expensive coastal real estate in the world, Bermuda became the absolute epicenter of the global catastrophe market. When a major hurricane hits the US mainland, a devastating earthquake strikes Japan, or wildfires ravage California, it's very often Bermudian companies that are writing the checks to fund the recovery. In fact, following
That's so weird, because Bermuda's taking the hit from the same hurricanes that the insurance companies would be paying out for. The insurance companies for that would be taking, making payouts for the, you know, landfall on, like, when it hits Florida. And, wow. Brain broke.
Recent U.S. hurricanes, Bermudian reinsurers have paid out roughly 30% of all reconstruction.
Sounds like a shell game. That's what I like. Well, that's where my brain's going.
The world's worst days. But recently, a massive global variable has entered the equation, throwing this entire business model into uncharted territory. As global warming accelerates, ocean temperatures are rising, and as we learned earlier, warm water is the exact fuel that powers Atlantic hurricanes. This means natural disasters are increasing in both frequency and ferocity. We're seeing stronger storms, heavier rainfall, and more destructive
They shoot their guns at the hurricane to shoot away.
more disasters would be catastrophic for a country whose entire economy is based on paying out disaster claims. But counterintuitively, it has actually made Bermuda even wealthier. As global risks increase, standard insurance companies are panicking. They need to offload their risk now more than ever, which drives the demand for Bermuda's reinsurance products through the roof. Because the risk of catastrophic storms is higher, Bermudian companies can charge significantly higher premiums for their coverage. They employ armies of the world's smartest climate scientists, meteorologists, and data analysts to build incredibly complex mathematical models predicting exactly how and where a storm will hit, allowing them to price their risk perfectly. They're not gambling blindly. They're making highly calculated bets on the climate. And what does all of this macro-level, trillion-dollar financial maneuvering actually mean for the everyday people living on the island? There's a very real, if tiny, human population living in Bermuda after all. Despite its massive footprint on the global economy, Bermuda is astonishingly small. The entire island is only about 21 square miles. To put that in perspective,
It's also not cheap to visit.
is larger than the entire country of Bermuda, and living on this tiny strip of limestone is a population of roughly 64,000 people. That's the population of a minor suburb in the United States. Yet, because of this massive influx of reinsurance capital, Bermuda boasts one of the highest gross domestic products per capita on the entire planet.
Damn.
Covering well over $100,000 per person. The wealth here is staggering. The roads are well maintained, the infrastructure is incredibly resilient, and the standard of living is exceptionally high. When a hurricane hits Bermuda itself, the island barely blinks. Their white-stepped limestone houses and underground water cisterns are built like fortresses, and their power grids are designed to snap back into action almost immediately. But there is a catch, and it's a painful one for the locals. Because Bermuda is an isolated 21 square mile rock with zero natural resources and no major agriculture, absolutely everything has to be imported by ship or plane.
Right, so probably everything you buy is more expensive.
The food you buy at the grocery store has to travel hundreds of miles across open ocean to get there. Combine that extreme supply chain cost with the massive influx of billionaire executives driving up real estate prices, and Bermuda has consistently ranked as having the highest cost of living in the world. Earning $100,000 a year in Bermuda doesn't make you wealthy. In fact, it barely makes you middle class. So, in the end, Bermuda is a bit of a geographic paradox. It's an island that should be unlivable. It has no water, no resources, and sits completely alone in the crosshairs of the world's most violent ocean. Yet, through sheer human ingenuity, architectural adaptation, and a brilliant cutthroat pivot into the world of high finance,
$20 for a gallon of milk, I bet. Probably.
curse into its greatest economic asset. I hope you enjoyed learning all about Bermuda. If you did, be sure to check out this video all about Magingo Island, the crowded island in the middle of Lake Victoria. Thanks for watching. See you next.
Alright, let's see. What was next? Kara had this article from a while ago. Trump Mobile confirms that exposed customers' personal data, including phone numbers and home addresses. Oh yeah, we talked about that one. Yeah, okay. So, let's see. What's this?
If you stream on Twitch, especially if payouts matter for rent, food, or literally surviving, listen up. I've seen multiple creators saying the same thing happened this month, that their payout got diverted to a bank account that isn't theirs. If you're a streamer, save this video and make sure you send it to all of your streamer friends because they need to check this too. One creator posted, "So the worst thing has happened. It looks like my Twitch account was hacked. My Twitch payout went to someone else via PayPal. I have two-factor authentication."
You need to fix your focus there.
I checked my payout settings and it was flipped.
Her focus.
Email. Another creator replied, "The same thing has happened to me. It's happened to others and all in the same month. For some, this is our jobs. It pays for me and others to survive." So even if you have two-factor authentication enabled, go and check your payout settings right now. Check the PayPal email on file or the account on file, and check for any payout confirmation emails that look off. And if anything has been changed that you personally didn't change, screenshot everything and contact Twitch. And if you are Twitch, then we need help. Please tell us how payout emails are getting switched and how we can verify where these funds actually went. If this is a wider issue, creators deserve a clear process and a fast fix. If you've had this happen, comment and let me know so we can track how widespread this is. Please share this video so more streamers check their payout settings today, and follow for updates on this situation.
I feel like there's something more that goes on to that than it's just like somebody got their account compromised. Like usually there's some malware or something to get to their account. It's not just like you can get access to an account like that. I don't know.
I use a 3-in-1 shampoo and you can use mine.
What the hell?
In one, you stupid idiot. With regular...
Hell, what kind of AI is this?
You can only clean your hair and your body. But with my 1000-in-1, can you cook with it? Can you clean with it? I don't know.
What the shit?
The 1000-in-1.
Some of y'all, I swear, with your AI slap. Alright, what's this? University of Michigan just open sourced their full robotics course.
University-level course on building and controlling real robots from the University of Michigan. So this is sick, guys. If you're into hands-on robotics, designing, fabricating, making physical robots move, this deserves a bookmark, guys. So it covers the full pipeline from mechanical design to control with a capstone ball bot project for you to work on. So that's balancing on a basketball. Super cool. It's right there. It's full lecture videos, notes, homework, labs, code, all free. So definitely check it out, guys.
This actually happened a while ago, it looks like. I mean, still good to know. But the code looks like it's from 2-3 years ago? Yeah, it's been up for a while. But this is still good to know. Lectures, lecture files. Okay. Yeah, so it's got pretty much everything you'll need here. Still good to know. I started so you can track it through my stars. But, yeah. Still good to know. But, yeah, from a while ago. What's this? Why did I... Oh, there's this,
I'm Raymond Zhang. I work as a software engineer making...
Breaking down my $306,500 salary in San Francisco cost of living.
$306,500.
$306,000. That's a little bit more than double what I'm making now. Like, if I were making that, like, dude, I could retire in, like, 5, 6, 7 years. Easy. Just put that money in, let that invest and grow. But yeah, like, I was gonna say, that's middle class. So I'm curious to see how that's gonna work out.
And I live in the San Francisco Bay Area. I'm going to be sharing all of my finances between my bills and my investments. This is cost of living. I'm a software engineer working at Meta. In terms of my role, I earn $306,500 on average.
Okay, hold on. Let's see what they break up.
I earn $306,500 on average.
Okay, so $185,000 is their actual base salary. So that's actually what they're getting paid. $27,750 is their bonus. So they're roughly getting actually paid what can actually be used on bills and everything. $220,000 $12,750. So that $93,750, while great, it is not liquid money. So, yeah. Let's keep that in mind. So, given, with that, that's still about 50% more money than I'm making.
After taxes and retirement contributions, I am currently taking home about $4,000 a month.
Damn, I'm putting more into my HSA and everything than you are? Wait, no. Actually, yeah, I might be putting more into my benefits than he is.
I currently do not have...
Hold up.
Contributions, I am currently taking home about $4,000 a month.
Hold up. You're taking $4,000 a month home? That's it? Math ain't mathin' with my brain right now. I'm like... Okay, so... Here's why I need to tell you my math ain't mathin' here, okay? Give me 1 second. I'm gonna pull up my spreadsheet. Like I told y'all earlier, I have my own spreadsheet I've run for years to manage my own stuff. It's only 168K, man, not 185K. Math ain't mathin'. Yeah, that's why I'm like, something's up here with the math. Alright, so... Alright, I have my 1,000 a week. Well, 1,000 a week take-home pay. That's not making sense here. Yeah, 14,000 times 12, 168,000. Yeah, their math is not mathing. So, yeah, there's a whole... That's what I thought. There's a whole 17 grand missing in this number here. Because I'm like, this number is not making sense. The reason why I say that is my take-home pay, for my salary, after my benefits, after all of my deductions, HSA, 401k, health, vision, employee stock purchase, everything, $7,400. How is he making more money than me, but taking less take-home? His math is wrong. No, even without bonuses, something's wrong. I don't know if bro's lying, it's just, his math ain't mathin'. But let me put it this way, if you're a software dev and you can't do this math, this explains why Meta's code shit. Okay, so, yeah, because, like, 7,400, and mind you, 7,400 take-home pay, after taxes, after benefits, everything, 7,400. He's missing some numbers here. So this feels like it's already out.
I currently do not have any other sources of income.
Salary comparables, 191,250 US average. Maybe.
I work anywhere between 40 to 50 hours a week on average. In terms of my day-to-day, it can be really anything. My role is fairly dynamic.
There is 1,416K. Oh, 1.416K a month missing his calculation. Yeah, thought US average is 70K, give or take.
So I could be doing any
child support. Okay, I'm not trying to be rude here, but let's just look at this guy for a second. You want to honestly tell me that you think this guy is paying child support? I don't think so.
Engineering and actual coding to some of the more sort of project management or product management stuff, as well as some data science sort of analysis. Prior to joining my current company, I had spent 2 years living in Dallas, and I moved here about 7 or 8 months ago, back in July of 2025. In terms of base rent, I am paying $2,600 a month. Amenity fees are included in the base rent.
How are you getting a place that cheap in San Francisco?
Utilities will cost anywhere between $150 to $170 a month. My electricity bill here is about 50% higher than it was in Dallas, from about $20 to $30 per month to about $50 a month.
How are you getting that cheap?
I feel like I am getting good value. A lot of the comparable areas
I don't even remember getting that cheap when I was in Dallas myself.
that are closer to my work could run anywhere between $3,500 to $3,700 per month.
That's where you messed up. Moving from Dallas, Texas has less taxes. Less income taxes, yes. I will say that Texas definitely has less income taxes, but I will also say that if you are wanting to be a property owner, property taxes are actually a bit high in Texas.
And I'm getting everything that I wanted out of this apartment. I live a little bit further away from either the major cities of San Francisco or San Jose or Oakland, but still within commutable distance of all three. Even though I had access to a relocation expert, I decided to do a lot of the research on my own, taking a look at all the things that I wanted to focus on from a living perspective. And after making the decisions, I decided to sign the lease sight unseen without actually having seen the place in person.
I would have never done that.
Hey, welcome to my apartment. So this is
Paying almost $6K a year in San Antonio for property taxes, yeah.
the main kitchen area.
Yeah, I'm paying about 15, no, they just raised it. I'm paying about $1,600-1,700, I think, in taxes.
Quite spacious compared to my last apartment. The only complaint that I really have are these countertops.
He does all that research and signs the lease without even seeing what he's getting. I know, right?
Exactly ideal for the amount that I'm paying, but it's all right. In terms of fridge and freezer, I got some meal prep stuff from the night before, as well as a whole host of drinks.
Hey, do you remember that point I made about child support? Does that fridge look like that's someone that even has a kid? I rest my case.
And mixers. In the freezer, very similar thing where I've got a couple of frozen.
Bro, this is a set. Bro. The only time my fridge has been this bare in the past few years, I shit you not, was the day Yitz and I came back from Portugal. Because we had ate and throw out most of the food before we had left because we were going to be gone for a week. My fridge right now still has more than that. Even when was single, there was more food than that. Like, I would still at least go to Whole Foods and, go to get, like, the pre-marinated steaks and salmon, at least as quick meals, and air fry those, and, get some frozen vegetables. And one thing you should know about me, I love Honeycrisp apples, so there may be at any given time anywhere from half to a dozen and a half Honeycrisp apples in one of those little trays over there. And then, so like, yeah, this is embarrassing.
In the freezer.
His monthly expenses on eating out must be a lot. Yeah, this looks like a fridge of somebody that doesn't actually eat locally. And to the point, like, look at the kitchen. Look how clean that is, okay? This does not look like a stove that is actually used. Like, even a clean stove, do not get me wrong. Even a well-used but clean stove still has that look of use. You know what I mean? Like, y'all see my content. Like, y'all see an Instagram photo from this afternoon of me making a fire in my fire pit to go make some hot dogs. I'm gonna go make some hamburgers and some steaks, probably. There are always stains you can't get off. Pretty much, you gotta scrape it off with a knife or something like that.
And mixers.
I know where the spending calculation went wrong. You forgot to add what he spends 1,000 on eating out. Exactly.
In the freezer, very similar thing where I've got a couple of frozen.
Bro, look how like abysmal your freezer is, dude. Like, look at that. Like, you got like 2 bottles of, you know, booze over there. Some frozen vegetables. You got like a chicken that looks like it's been like frostbitten since the Ice Age. I don't even know what that is.
As well as some dumplings that I actually wrapped myself when I was really bored one day.
They look like they're frostbitten.
Over here we have my main sort of living slash...
Oh, what's this video about? It's about costs of livings across the USA.
area. This is where I get all my work done.
Bro, look how barren that entire living space is. Like, you literally have like one thing on the wall. Like, you don't even have a TV in here. Like, there's not even a game, like...
Here we have my...
Yeah, like, it's not... Like, he didn't even put his desk, like, at the edge of the room to, like, put it at the edge of the wall to, like, go see out, or... He put it literally in the middle of the room. Who the hell, who the F does that? Psychopaths. That's who. How much is he spending on OF? Apartment looks 350 to 400 square feet, yeah. That this is a man that intently decorates to drive women away.
Main sort of...
You refrigerate your apples? I do. Mostly just so that I not really to intentionally like keep them longer, but kind of as a, they're in my face when they're in the fridge, so when I go hunting for snacks, they're there, and it's kind of like when I'm, you know, grazing for snacks, I kind of go like, ooh, apple! I just hack my own ADHD brain. It's not that I want to keep the apples longer, although that is a side effect. It's more that I know if my first reaction is to go to the fridge rather than the fruit bowl that's behind the fridge, or next to the fridge. So if I do that, then I'm more likely to grab the apple than some of the less healthy options.
The living slash workshop area. This is where I get...
Oh yeah, the fruit flies too.
My personal projects.
The decision to do without...
He has his cables under his chair. Holy shit, yeah, like, look at this. This is horrible. And then, like, look, he has this table, like, right behind. Like, dude, put this table against the wall. Put that table next to this table. Like, and look, like, he's got, like, nothing. I want to point this out. He's got, like, nothing in this apartment, okay? There's, like, no furniture. He's got a fucking Roomba. The dude got a Roomba off here into the corner, okay? Are you telling me with this grand mess of nothing, you couldn't just save the $400, get a $50 vacuum, and just sweep up? You don't even have a cat or a dog. So it's not like you have to do it that often. And judging by the state of your fridge, you're not entertaining that often either. He just moved in yesterday, I guess. No, this ain't a yesterday move-in. A yesterday move-in... Look, a yesterday move-in would still not have you put your desk in the middle of the room.
The couch and a TV is really just based on my own needs. I don't really watch a whole lot of TV. I just
This reminds me of the episode of Big Bang Theory where Leonard met Sheldon and Sheldon had a fold-out lawn chair and a small round table in the living room. Oh my god, yes! This is Sheldon pre-Leonard! You're right! Except I think Sheldon was actually a little bit more cool than this guy, no offense to him.
my computer. I don't host people in my apartment, obviously. If I do decide to...
Look, he just answered what I said. Look, he just answered what I theorized.
Just use my computer. I don't host people in my apartment, obviously. If I do decide to hang out with friends, I'll usually go to their place or maybe a third place. And in the case...
He doesn't entertain, and by the sound of how he says that, you listen to what he said, he only said that in the context of friends. He didn't even say it in the context of, I'm dating anyone romantically. Now, the guy could be asexual or anything like that. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, there ain't no nookie happening in that place, okay? And can we also point out, now that we got another angle, there ain't no family photos anywhere. He's got a desk in the middle of the room with white walls and no family photo. This is like, you know, like, this is like American Psychopath kind of shit right here. Like, you couldn't even put a little table for your backpack here. You just got to throw it on the floor. No, Kara, you can't change him. You know what? You know what? I really hope they show us his bedroom, because guess what? I'm gonna be surprised as fuck if there's a bed frame. I say this as a man. I have a bed frame, ladies. That's right. That's right, ladies. He has a bed frame.
Of hanging out with my friends in virtual reality while everyone's sort of split off in their own physical space.
We've also got a couple of other things over.
Wait! We just saw it.
We've also got a couple of other.
It's on the floor. It's on the floor. It's on the floor. Look, 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 look. It's right here. It's in the corner. It's on the floor. It's on the floor. You're right. We were joking. I didn't want to be right, but we were right. Oh. Okay, so we have the one, like, thing on the wall over here, and then there's, like, some random, like, looks like Serrano or DJ turntable set.
Over here, just the DJ controller, because I really don't have a lot of other space to put it, as well as my...
Just, yeah. Hey, give him credit. There are mattress covers on it, at least. Yeah, but I'm gonna bet that he doesn't have a waterproof mattress topper. If you don't know why that's important, well then, you don't know why that's important. And it proves my point to my earlier statement about his entertainment.
Robot cleaner, which gets the job done. It's not perfect, but it definitely helps out in terms of having to clean. Over here, we've got just the bedroom.
Wait. One bed is on a frame, but the other one's not.
I mean, there's really not much to my bedroom. It gets the job done for me. I have my blanket, my pillow, a filing cabinet.
Okay, it is on a frame. It is on a frame.
Stand as well as my charger there.
But wait, why does that look like...
At this point.
That angle did not look right. Okay, apparently it is on a frame.
And this is my bathroom. The highlight of this is really the bidet that I installed.
So let me get this straight. Did they cut? They may have. Like, let me look at this. Hold up.
We've also got a couple of other things.
Well, everyone's sort of split off in their own physical space.
We've also got a couple of other things over here.
It looks like the same thing.
Place. And in the case of hanging out with,
but it's hard to say.
A lot of other perfect. But over here we've got just the bedroom.
They felt bad for him and cut it out, and then just gave him a bed frame.
And this is my bathroom. The highlight of this is really the bidet that I installed. It was about $400 or so.
Dude spent $400 on a bidet, but not on any decor around his walls, any furniture, or putting his desk against the frickin' wall like a non-psychopath.
It was a really, really nice quality of life improvement for myself.
You know what? That might not be a pain in the ass, but looking at where your desk placement is definitely a bigger pain in the ass.
And outside over here,
or food.
Of a balcony. I don't spend a lot of.
You don't even have stuff on a balcony. Like you are literally, you don't even touch grass. You don't even not even touch grass. You don't even go and see the light. You don't even, you are freaking like not even a day walker.
I'm out here, as you may be able to tell, but it is a nice way to get some fresh air in.
Bro, you look so white that, like, look how white you are. We could white balance you. Casper the Friendly Ghost uses you to clean himself up. Michael Jackson uses you as a mirror.
By many of my friends that my living situation is very Spartan, but really it's an intentional choice to pick and choose parts of my life that I decide to spend more or less money on. So even though my living situation right now is fairly sparse, that doesn't mean that it's going to stay that way, say if I decide to have a partner or have kids.
Okay, let's go through.
And public transit, I'll sometimes spend around $30 per month, but most of the time it's zero. I live in the Bay Area without a car, and so I think one of the big things to me is the accessibility to public transit. I live about 5 minutes away from the nearest Bay Area rapid transit station. I'm actually quite used to living car-free. I had lived previously in Dallas for 2 years without a car and got around in very similar ways.
I lived in Dallas. How do you function without a car in Dallas? Like, don't get me wrong, I know there are cities you can function without a car. I lived in Europe, okay? I've done it. But Dallas ain't one of them. Unless you, like, literally cut yourself off from, like, a lot of things. He is not doing the stereotype of Meta employees any favors. No, he is not.
I picked out this apartment also specifically for its proximity to all of the things that
He Ubers every day. He said his spending is like $30 a month, but it's kind of hard to believe that.
I would really want to go to on a regular basis. So that would be cafes, boba shops, as well as the grocery store. For those, I just...
Yep, so he's spending his money on bullshit! Like Caleb Hammer would say.
Walk. And for anything else, I would either take the public transit or in certain cases, take rideshare. Our company, like many other companies around the Bay Area, have shuttles that go around the area, and I utilize those to get to and from work.
You're joking. When I went to Texas, speed limit is absolutely a suggestion. Oh yeah, absolutely. I used to, like, so when I was in Texas, there was a VW that I was driving. It was a Tiguan. Between the cities, the speed limit was a suggestion. I actually did hit like 130 in places. I'm not even joking. Should you do that? No. Did I do that? Yes.
I spend about $300 per month on groceries.
This is where he lies about what he buys as groceries for his empty-ass fridge. Oh, God.
I spend about $300 per month on groceries.
Bull fucking shit!
I usually budget $75 per month for eating out, but I usually don't.
Bull fucking shit! You are omitting something here. Either you are going to let us know that you, like, Meta is giving you, like, free meals and everything, and you're taking advantage of that, and that's how this is all cheap, or you're freaking, like, this is, like, all bullshit. Like, I'm on the higher end of monthly budgeting for food, okay? I get nice steaks, things like that, okay? I'm spending probably like $600-700 a month. If I were to cut it and budget it out, I probably still have to do about 500. And if you're eating out, there's no way you're doing $75. In San Francisco, eating out for $75 on a low end, that's maybe 4 to 5 meals. But it's most likely about 2 or 3.
Don't hit that maximum. I used to get online delivery for my groceries, but not anymore given that it's so close to my apartment.
Or you realize that you're actually just spending so much on the delivery fee.
I should stock up on some more instant noodles. In terms of what I cook on a daily basis, I don't really have a set plan because of the fact that my company subsidizes both my breakfast and my lunch.
There it is! There it is! Let's go back to what he says.
Have a set plan because of the fact that my company subsidizes both my breakfast and my lunch.
His breakfast and his lunch is subsidized. So he only has to worry about 1 of 3 meals a day. 1 of 2 if you're one of those people. This entire video is bullshit.
Yes, beef short rib, $14.34 or $10.99 per pound. This is a cut that usually isn't super widely available in Western grocery stores, so always nice to pick some up from the Asian grocery store.
What are you talking about? I find beef short rib all the time. Do you go out that much?
In terms of dinner, I'll usually meal prep some sort of protein as well as vegetables, so that could be chicken, it could be some fish.
Okay, I don't go to Walmart, but I was like, I'm pretty sure Walmart has that. But I know I've seen that at Whole Foods, I know I've seen that at Costco, and I know I've seen that at, like, you know, the halal meat markets and stuff like that I've been to. And I know I've even seen that at the kosher butchers.
It really just depends on my mood.
This herbal tea, this stuff is gas. Also a ton of sugar in there, but really, really good. So a pack of 6 for $3.99.
I'm lucky enough to be in a situation where food prices have not really affected how I socialize or make these decisions around food choices.
Well, yeah, because you only have to worry about 1 out of 3 meals a day. Tea shouldn't have any sugar in it unless you put it in. That's not true. There are sugar teas that have it pre-added.
Alrighty, let's go ahead and...
That's like $60 of food. Yeah, and it's not healthy food either. Well, there are some, like, fresh options, but, like, ramen and things like that, yeah.
Make our way to the other grocery store. Round 2, let's go.
In terms of cooking versus eating out, I am almost always cooking at home.
That's why I said there are some fresh veggies.
Man, people are fiending for the Coke Zeros. They ran out of the...
Case in point, soda.
Of the large ones. Here's what I got at the Western supermarket. A loaf of white bread, a bag of white rice.
Why did... Hold up.
Bread, a bag of white rice.
Did he buy the white rice at the...
A dozen eggs. A bottle of Coke. And a gallon of whole milk. In total, this came out to be $22.34. Now...
Hold up. Did the dude come from an Asian store and then buy white rice at a Western store? chat. If he is in fact Asian, if his mom saw this video, I know for a fact that she probably grabbed the wooden spoon and smacked his ass. Because you know what my grandmother taught me to do? Don't buy the silly ass little tiny bag. If you know you're going to be cooking lots of rice, I'm Middle Eastern, we cook a lot of rice. I have a rice container, okay? I buy a 50-pound bag of rice, okay? Why didn't he buy, like, the big-ass bag of rice and get a rice dispenser at the Asian store? Half of what we saw him buy isn't there. Yeah, probably.
In total, this came out to be $22.34. Now, this isn't necessarily what I would get on a regular basis, but...
Well, no shit.
It's just to give an idea of how much things cost in my area.
What do you do for fun in your free time?
That's an excellent question. In terms of what I do...
Okay, I'm curious for a second. This video felt like a satire, not gonna lie. The fursuit... There's a Oh, God! Oh, God!
Free time.
I gotta keep watching!
Major areas that I spend my money on. The first is finances, so...
He shops like a rich person who never shopped before. That's, yeah.
That sort of thing, as well as my personal finances. There's also a big aspect of travel, whether that's domestic or international. And I am also an active participant in the furry community. I currently...
There it is!
Spend about $1,000 a year just for the privilege of owning the credit cards that I currently hold on to.
Woo! $1,000 on annual fees for what? I got a lot of credit cards, okay? I barely got any credit card debt. Okay, I manage my credit cards pretty well. I don't keep any that have annual fees like that. I was considering one that maybe had a $200 or $300 annual fee because it maybe gave me some advantages for if I travel more. It was one of those Chase ones or something like that. But be that as it may, I ain't nowhere near 1,000.
In terms of my hobbies, I generally spend between $400 and $500 a month across all of them, though in certain cases I will spend a little bit more money, and I'm currently saving up for a fursuit. On average...
Of course he's saving up for a fursuit. That's why he's got no furniture in his house.
Depending on where your maker is, as well as how reputable they are, a fursuit will generally cost between $4,000 to $7,000. The furry community means a lot of different things to...
The fact that they actually put this on!
To various people. To some people, it's a way of expressing themselves.
Is he a Reddit mod too? Probably.
Other times, it's just a way of designing a fictional character and sort of living in a bit of a mascot costume for a while. To me, being part of this community really means designing my own characters, as well as embodying them in the form of either commissioning art, or in some extreme cases, commissioning fursuits. And all of this faux fur, or at least part of it, will eventually end up on the head. This is a bigger part of the project, especially since I'm not super familiar with sewing, but it'll eventually end up on there. So my character currently is a bit of a cyborg hybrid between a canine as well as a robot.
What the fuck does this have anything to do with, you know, day in the life cost? Like, we could have just, like, left it alone at this point of, like, he just does furry things. And also, can we point out that he's using a MacBook Pro box as a stand instead of, I don't know, using a few dollars on a proper piece of furniture?
Robot, known in the community colloquially as a protogen. I think...
They needed filler content. Yeah, because he's got nothing else going on in his life. Like, dude, I am not by any means a hater of furries, but you are by no means helping that stereotype.
For really anything mentioning furry in the furry community as well, because of it being a sort of...
Chief hates me and ignores me. I told you he had a protogen flag on the wall. This doesn't surprise me. Oh, is that what this is?
community in the social
He needs to get laid.
There are a lot of concerns around doxing, as well as in general people not necessarily being super comfortable with being public with this. I just happen to be one of the stupid people that decided to go public with this. I don't really spend a lot of money on improving my finances. It's more so of a lifestyle choice to take a look at credit cards and the perks that they offer and whether or not it's really worth it to me. In terms
Whether or not it's worth it to you. Buddy, look around at your house. Look around at your place. Like, I've had a small apartment, okay? I had a small apartment. When I had my first small apartment, it did not look nearly as barren and soulless as this did. Like, honestly, I have to put it this way. If I walked into this guy's place, you kind of walk in and you're like, this guy has no life. And I'm not saying that in the I'm being mean. I'm saying that in the this is like really sad kind of way. Like, there is no couch. There is no chairs. There is literally nothing there with the intention of him ever seeming to want another person there. Think about that for a second. Like, when I got my first apartment, one of the first things I got was a couch. A couch, a TV stand, cooking stuff, you know, little dining table, chairs, you know, set up just the little communal areas. I guarantee his parents haven't seen it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they haven't either.
In terms of maximizing your value for the points, this is really a process of trying to earn those points in the most efficient way and spending those points in the most efficient way. Generally, in terms of earning, you're going to be getting those from sign-up bonuses rather than everyday spend. And in terms of actually cashing in those points, you're going to be trying to look for value where, say, maybe a business class ticket might be $5,000.
His VR furry friends are doing better than him. Oof. That burns.
But only $2,500 worth of points. I was fortunate enough to grow up in a household where my mother was very financially literate, and she was actually the one that got me interested in credit cards and churning in the first place. The most recent
link so I can screenshot the flag because the link is not in review on stream.
I was fortunate enough to bring my dad along as well as my sister. I have health insurance provided by my employer. I am currently paying for a high deductible plan and I spend about $17 per month. I currently do not have any recurring healthcare costs. In terms of staying fit, my apartment has a gym, but in case I'm lazy to do that, I also do bodyweight fitness. And for cardio and aerobics, I do dancing. One of the big parts about the furry
hell
as well are the raves.
They really needed filler. Like, they're still going on about furry conventions. Who cares about furry conventions?
That happen in person.
In this video.
Some people there that know how to dance. In any given month, I will save anywhere between $5,000 to $20,000. In terms of that large range,
Hold up! Math ain't mathin' again here. Let's back up. Remember, his take-home was $4,000. Deductions and benefits, right? Monthly savings comes out of take-home. That's not a deduction. The math is really fucked. There's no way you're saving $5,000 a month. Because I'm looking at, let me look, like, yeah, that math is not making sense. Like, even if I looked at mine, yeah, that math ain't mathin'.
It really depends on whether or not my
If he was making that much, he should have no problem with that costume. That's what I'm saying.
1K is maxed out, whether or not I have any stock vesting.
So what is he saying?
Save anywhere between $5,000 to $20,000. In terms of that large range, it really depends on whether or not my 401k is maxed out, whether or not I have any stock vesting, and whether or not I have any bonuses.
That's not savings. That's investment. 401k is investment. Roth IRA, investment. Stocks, investment. That's not savings. Savings is money that you put into and you can still pull out, and it is liquid. Investment is money that you put in and it cannot be immediately pulled out. This structure for Business Insider, like whoever did this, the math is all wrong. The explanations are all effed. Like, this is really effed. Like, he's treating his investments as savings. I knew a guy that put everything in crypto and thought he was saving. Exactly. Like, let me give you an idea here, okay, for a second. I can't really clear it out without showing some personal info, but I have a calculation in my own personal budget spreadsheet that has the line separated for saving total, investment total, saving percentage, investment percentage. They are broken down into two separate categories. I have money going into a high yield savings account, and I have money going into my regular credit union savings account. But then I also have money going into a stock account, a Roth IRA, and my business and my employer is also putting money into a 401k and an employee stock purchasing program. That's an investment, and that's locked. It is very important to never to mix what is your investment as your savings and your savings as your investment. Do not consider your 401k as a savings. Do not consider it as your emergency fund either. It is one thing where you lose your job and you have to dip into your 401k because you have no choice. That's one thing. But do not consider your 401k as your savings. Do not ever do that. That is dangerous thinking.
In terms of matching out my 401k with my employer,
He even said his stock bonuses are part of his savings. Yeah, that's right.
$24,500 up to the maximum limit that I can contribute alongside my employer contributions. In addition to that, I make after-tax contributions all the way up to the IRS limit of $72,000. So in total, about 1/6 of my compensation is going towards my 401k. In terms of my other investments, I also max out my Roth IRA and HSA every single year, and then any additional money goes into my brokerage account. I'm currently about 80% invested in the US stock market and 20% internationally. I think like with many other parts of my generation, there is very much a big split in terms of financial literacy among other things. There's a
I have a feeling his math is really skewed because they didn't actually put in how much he actually put into investments, and they effed up everything between the savings and all of that. This is a lesson for everyone here. What did you put in? What is this? This is a protogen flag, aka the bottoms of the furry community. That's not a joke. Every single protogen I've seen are bottoms. So, as a bi top, I look down upon thee. I'm kidding. Sort of.
About the people who are fairly well educated in terms of personal finances.
He is really financially illiterate. Yeah. The honest truth is, I would suggest to him to go get a financial planner who is a fiduciary immediately. There is a reason why I have a financial planner who manages my finances, and I lean on them for those kind of things. And every time I change jobs, get a promotion, get a raise, get bonuses, you know, life-changing events, I hit them up. They manage my Roth IRA. I rolled over my 401k to an IRA when I left my last job. They handle my cash value life insurance. So like in my 40s, I can either cash it out or I can let it ride. So that's why I tell everyone, when you start making money, don't think you're smart, you're smarter than someone who professionally does this stuff. That you can be smart with money, but there's a difference between somebody who's a professional in this. Go find yourself a financial planner who is a fiduciary that is ideally not captive. What that means is they can shop you out to all the different financial products out there. So for example, I am not beholden to just getting stuff from like Charles Schwab's portfolio or stuff like that for mine. Mine can actually shop them out, so I can go through a bunch of different things, and my guy can always look out for my best interests. I actually just sent Yitz over to him, and I've sent like about half a dozen of my friends over in various states of life, and he's been able to write so many different situations. But the point being, when you are starting your career and you start getting on the path to making money, you need to get a team behind you to put that money together smartly. Don't just, I'm going to put all of it in 401k and then call it a day. Get a financial planner that's fiduciary, sit down with them, meet with them at least quarterly. Every time you get a new job, you get a promotion, you get a raise, you get a kid, you know, a life-changing event, like, so you have a kid, you get married, you know, you buy a house, anything like that, life goals change, things like that, you work with them. They can help you get your goals aligned. So, yeah.
And there are a lot of those who are just getting by. I view personal finance in a very similar way as I do personal fitness. A lot of the core concepts are fairly simple, but it doesn't mean that it's easy to follow, and there are a lot of traps along the way.
No offense, dude, but you're not exactly the dude that I really want to be taking fitness advice from, or even believing physical fitness metaphors from. Just saying.
I'm aiming to retire by the age of 30, in which case I'll need about $1.6 million to do so. In terms of why I decided to start pursuing the path of financial independence and retiring early, I wanted to build a life for myself where I wouldn't have to work for money all the way up until 65. There's a lot of moving parts when it comes to retirement planning, and even establishing a goal number is a bit of—
Bro thinks 1.6 million will last him from 30. Oh my god, that is hilarious. It is, because here's the thing. I know 1.6 million is not going to be enough for even me. 1.6 million is a good enough number to, like, supplement things. So let's go to NerdWallet, just to give you an idea, to give you, like, when we say, this is why you need a financial planner, okay? So, let me see, we need the NerdWallet calculator. Calculator, compound interest calculator. All right. So, let's say you have $1.6 million, okay? Over 1 year, let's say you put nothing in, okay? Where's the button? Oh, I at least have to put, like, $1, I guess. Oh. Probably helps if I do that. Okay. So, let's say you're at a 5% interest there. You're making about $80,000 or so. 5%. Let's say you're at the average 7% there. You're at $115,664. Okay? That's the average where the stock market is. That's still not a lot of money. At least for San Francisco. Now, for many parts of the USA, you can move across and you can be fine there. But then you have to consider inflation, things like that. And you're going to be doing draws on your money. So you're going to continuously be pulling off of that money. So realistically, it's something like 3 mil. Like I said, you know, this kid needs to get a financial planner. I'm not a financial planner. I'm a cybersecurity guy that has a financial planner. That knows his goal of retiring by 30. And we've already seen there's a few mistakes in his math and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah. And let's say, you know, you wanted to be extremely conservative and let's keep your money completely liquid in a money market account, which is about 3.4%, or high yield savings account. You'd be talking 3 mil right now just for your 100,000 there. So you'd be talking, you'd need to realistically live and be able to beat inflation and all of that stuff. Probably about 3 mil to comfortably push past that retirement, what he's talking about. 1.6? Not going to cover it. He's going to have a bunch of hard truths coming up. Yep. And that is, again, why I give you all the advice. I'm not a financial expert. I know enough to know that you need an expert. Go find a non-captive financial advisor that is a fiduciary that can be in your corner for your finances.
A moving goalpost in general. The rule of thumb in the community is to multiply your expenses by 25, or otherwise known as the 4% rule. And if you're retiring earlier than, say, around 40 or so, you might want to add some leeway to that. And so my budget is a little bit greater than the actual 4% rule. There's a lot of different projections in terms of how much I'm going to be contributing in the future.
Not to mention, he hasn't budgeted for the fact that what if one day he does actually end up having kids and a family? That's going to balloon your costs. You're going to now need to think about, you know, what do you do to provide for college and stuff for the kid? You know, retiring at 30 is this grand idea until you realize what the entirety of your life actually looks like.
As well as how the stock...
He thinks he can live on 64K per year. You can live on 64K per year. You're just not going to like the areas or how you're going to live on 64K per year. I lived on 64K per year. I did it before. When I was in an IT MSP, I was making $50,000 a year. But that was before 2020. Inflation has gone way up. It's at the point when I remember my last job, I was making just a little bit above $99,000, just shy of the $100,000. And I felt like I was struggling, like I wasn't making enough money. And $100,000 used to be enough money before, like, COVID and all that. That's how effed up things are.
Market is going to do over that course of time. I have way too many sheets in this.
You see the problem? He's got sheets upon sheets upon sheets upon sheets. But not one mention of a financial advisor. I have an app my financial advisor set me up with that connects to all of these things. And then I can connect it and all of that stuff. And I have... let me see if I can show you this. Here we go. And I have this. That's my budget. That was my old budget. You can see dog insurance, all of that. bank, everything. I have my own sheets for everything that I need to do. This is not adequate enough. How do I know? Because I did that. I did that for years. And eventually I realized I was struggling and making it harder for myself, and I was falling behind and couldn't figure out why. And I realized I am not as smart as I really think I am in terms of finances, and I needed to find someone who is as smart in finances as I am with technology, so I can focus on where I actually am good at. This is dangerous because you're putting all the risks and liability on yourself, and you don't know as much as you think you do in fields that you're not actually trained in, that are different to the numbers the AI gave originally. Holy shit, you're right. His math is way off. Like, look at this. He's got like 32K in emergency fund. You know, he's got hospital bills that he hasn't talked about. Annual fund for that. Spending fund, you know. Yeah, he didn't really... He doesn't... I don't think he really knows what his actual financial picture is really like.
So every month I'll create a copy of this sort of base spreadsheet. I designed it myself. I don't really have a template that I follow, and I prefer it this way. It's more of a DIY approach of if I decide that there are certain categories that I don't want or categories that I do need, then I'll just add it onto the spreadsheet and it'll be copied over for the remainder of however long I decide to do this budgeting.
That's fine and dandy, and as you see, I made my own spreadsheet with my own formulas and everything too. But the problem is, he's running into the Dunning-Kruger effect. He is too overconfident in something that he shouldn't be confident in. I know enough to know that I don't know enough. And he's going to run straight into a wall. He needs to sit down with an actual financial professional that can run through his numbers and give him a reality check. Because this is your financial, your financial freedom you're talking about. There's nothing wrong with having a person in your corner to make sure you're on the right map. Wish I could put that sleeping cat meme in chat. He needs help.
I actually do have a larger tax sheet that does track down in terms of like taxes that I'm paying, in terms of the income that I'm getting, the expected amount of paychecks. And then over here, I just have some pretty straightforward projections in terms of actually where I'm going to be at financially for a given year and age, assuming certain figures for growth as well as investment outcome. And yeah, so...
He needs to be on Caleb Hammer's show. Oh yeah, totally. He definitely does. Speaking of which, funny thing, I've kicked around the idea with Yitz of like maybe me going on there. But Yitz seems to think that I don't have enough bullshit for Caleb to even care. Because like my most expensive credit card, I think has like a little over $1,000 on it. That's it. There's like 3 $1,000 cards on there, and they'll get paid off in like a month and a half. Other than that, it's just like, yeah.
By age 30, assuming that all goes well, I'm expecting that I might have somewhere north of around $2 million invested. And this is also tracking the...
You'd watch that. Yeah, well, the thing is, and understandably, Caleb doesn't want to take on anyone that he thinks is just going on to promote themselves, and I respect that. And I feel like he would have the feeling that I would be on there just to promote myself, and I can respect that. I mean, eventually I'll try to apply to see, maybe he can give me some advice on how I can better invest some vehicles and everything like that, and maybe at least get a reality check on the approaches that I've taken on paying down a bunch of debt towards the house and things.
price of some of my investments, and so this will fluctuate over time. And by age 40, I'm expected to be retired at that point, so I do have empty columns in terms of my actual investments. But at that point, I might have somewhere in the north of $7 million invested. I think a very interesting part of the FIRE community is that it has splintered off into various...
So he's retiring at 40 now, not 30? Yeah, like, this is all over the place. Now he's like, well, yeah, I may be retiring at 40, so... I'm like... What the hell? This guy is really all over the place. Like, why did they even bother making this video? They spent like 1/3 of it talking about his furry fandom.
Groups.
And now they can't even stick with they can't even stick with a single axe head. The math is all over the place. It's messed up. They consolidated his investing in finance, investing in savings into the same line.
Focused on frugality at all costs. Now there are folks such as myself that sort of can have their cake and eat it too, where we are able to live a very fulfilling lifestyle and save a lot for retirement. In terms of my lifestyle after retirement, I don't expect that I'm going to stop working entirely. I might pick up some odd jobs or contracting work every now and then, just if I decide that it's interesting to me. Other than that, it's really going to be...
Bro thinks his lifestyle is fulfilling. Yeah, that's the very sad part about it, is that he does think his life is that fulfilling, but... Dude, you are in a white room with... according to one of my mods, what is the thing called a protogen flag, which is apparently the bottoms of the furry community, according to my mods. That was a learning lesson I didn't need to know, but apparently I learned that today. You don't even have furniture in there. Like, it looked like you had a twin bed. You didn't even have a bed to allow for a partner to be with you. You didn't even have a second chair for someone to sit down with you. You didn't even have, it looks like, someone to have a meal with you in your place. You've built a life, it looks like, designed around purposely keeping anyone out from being part of your life. To the point you have no part of your own life on display in your house. You have no pictures of your family or anything like that. Like, I already say I don't have enough pictures of my family. I at least have a few photos of my family on the wall. And then, you know, like, oh, wow, it's just... I feel sad for this guy. Because he's one of those people that honestly is gonna wake up in a few years from now, and it's gonna hit him eventually and be like, wow, that actually was a pretty lonely life. But unfortunately, that doesn't happen until most of your life usually has gone by for those people.
Attending conventions and just being myself. I think one of the biggest privileges for myself is that I am able to earn enough of an income where I could reasonably support my family if they were ever in trouble. And in the case of a future family, that would be something that I would have to readjust over time.
You talk about, again, you talk about a future family, but your entire place is completely set up in a way that psychologically it shows me you're not even opening yourself up to the concept of you having a family. I don't think he works at Meta. I don't know about that. Can't prove or deny that. No, you're not. You can't even support yourself. Yeah. Financially, he may be able to technically support himself. However, there's other aspects that I do not think that he's properly supporting himself. He's min-maxing wrong. Yeah. I think he pulled a Theo. He probably worked there for 1 to 2 months, got fired, and still goes around telling people he works at Meta.
Moving here has definitely been worth it. Even though the cost of living is higher, the job compensation and the opportunities available here are really unmatched. In terms of staying here long term, that's an existential question.
It's not an existential question, it's just a future planning question.
I think in terms of long-term living, I plan to move back to the Los Angeles area. I could definitely see myself in the position of starting a company in
Wait, didn't he say that he lived in Texas, but he's moving back to the LA area? I don't know.
the next couple of years or decades, but no plans for that currently. My biggest piece of advice is something that's fairly widely shared among the folks in the FIRE community, and it's build the life you want and then save for it.
Who is this? Some person we're watching on a Business Insider thing about cost of living documentaries, and we're just kind of ripping on him because it's just, there's like so many nonsensical things that he said.
Maybe a situation where you can't have everything.
ChatGPT lost track of his lies indeed, Kara.
Choose whether or not you want to live in a favorable location, or you decide to spend more on, say, travel and other experiences, or maybe on some of the other material goods that you're looking at.
Oh man, I'm gonna get roasted by so many people. It's gonna be the people who are gonna comment on my forum, the people who are gonna comment on the furry thing, the people that are gonna comment on my apartment.
He literally got on the leg press just to probably show people that he works out. Because you see that comment? I'm probably gonna get, you know, roasted about my form, all of that stuff. That's not a comment that someone that regularly goes to the gym would say. I go to the gym. Okay? I'm not by any means the gym rat that I once used to be. But I think you all can see that I can pick up a weight. And I know how to, you know, do it. And I'll do it and then, you know, do the thing. And y'all might, you know, say, hey, your form's a little bit off, you know, all that. And I'll be like, oh, okay, cool, thank you. You know, anyone that actually goes in right out the bat, knowing they're recorded, that they're going to get roasted, knows they haven't been working out. Because form is easy to correct. You look in a mirror. You correct your body. Yeah, it's not that hard to have good form. YouTube in a mirror. Exactly. ChatGPT hallucinated and gave him the wrong financial advice. I was really shocked that Business Insider put that video up. Because that was bad. That was really bad. Like, I was not expecting it to be that bad. Can't believe we made a 15-minute video, a 1-hour segment. Yeah, who approved this video? Me. Yeah, I'm going to be skipping through quite a few of the videos on the review on stream, but we're, you know, catching up with things, but, yeah. Still a fun time, but he was worried about getting roasted about the gym. That was the only tip of the iceberg. It's about as bad as the guy that built his own gaming PC that everyone clowned on a few years ago. That was The Verge. The Verge, their PC computer tutorial. That one. That's the one you're talking about? Oh, no, on Business Insider, I mean. Who approved this from businesses? Oh, yeah, that? Oh, yeah, we're gonna say, like, I'm gonna leave a comment. Okay, yeah. For what we... Okay. Don't make his mistake. Get a financial planner. Yeah, I'm really curious about who actually approved that on Business Insider. That was, not a great video, to say the least. Everyone, good to go to BI and make that the top liked comment. I don't know, that's a ways to go. I wonder if anyone else detailed Dallas with no car is impressive. I don't think anyone else was really catching up, catching the inconsistencies. But anyway, with that being said, thank you all for joining me. We got some great art I gotta hang up around the house. We showed those off. So, get those acrylics put up around the house soon. If you haven't already, make sure to follow me on all of my socials. Follow me on YouTube and Twitch and Kick and the TikToks and the Blue Skies and the Mastodon and the Discord and the Matrix. I'm everywhere. We have a great community on Discord and Matrix, so make sure you join there. The link's in bio if you don't see it in the chat. Love you all. Stay safe. Happy hacking. Stick around for the raid if you're on Twitch. Next stream will be Wednesday night. But, happy hacking. Just because I wasn't asked, wait, what OS are you using? What's Matrix? It's a decentralized, self-hosted Discord alternative. I run my own server. Links in bio for that one. But, yeah. So, I will be back Wednesday. Maybe on stream again tomorrow, but I gotta go pick up an iPad, so we'll see about that. Alright, anyway. Love you all. Stay safe. Happy hacking. Bye!